I'm old enough to remember Lord Heseltine swinging the mace around. It wasn't as dramatic as it actually sounded in reality. And Heseltine has put forward a plan that, or a call that we should have a new Marshall Plan. And we should perhaps lead that discussion, even if we don't fund it entirely ourselves. But this is the only way to reducing migration in the long run. We can call for an international forum to impose a protective barrier around Europe and the UK to reduce the flow of immigration, which at the moment, as he points out, is in its infancy compared with what generations yet to come are going to face. The only credible solution, he says, is a twofold solution. One is to put a wall, a ring, a protective barrier around Europe. That would be seen by many people as an immoral reaction to poverty outside. But if you couple it with a Marshall Plan, with a Marshall aid program of the sort the Americans did after World War II, and to come to deals with the countries from which immigrants are coming to create the conditions that persuade them to stay there, then there is an effective policy and a moral policy. And that sort of stamps very firmly on the sort of nonsense that Suella Braverman has been putting forward. You can't pull up the drawbridge without offering a viable route, a safe route, through which people can negotiate their way to the UK when they are in need. That must still be there. But I think by investing in developing countries, by establishing our support for them, we are sending out a political message, we are sending out a moral message, we are sending out the right message. And I think this goes well beyond the aid package that we've got. At the moment, we're looking at well over 500,000 people coming to our country every year. And we're also looking at the exploitation of students, of foreign students, by our system. That needs to stop. We need a functioning and effective Home Office. We need a functioning and effective plan. And that means an agreement with other countries. And Robert Jenrick has said that he doesn't intend to make any more compromises. It's not a serious or a grown-up way to conduct a debate to say we don't want this, we don't want that, and not to come up with an alternative. The UK has the most comprehensive plan to tackle illegal migration of any European country. Utter bosh. It's all in the never, never. And Robert Jenrick needs to get on his bicycle, do a few rounds until he wears himself out, and then think, and think, and think, and ideally not come back to the office. He and Suella Braverman have proven that they don't know what they're doing. And the illegal migration law, which they have been behind, will be, if it comes into effect, will be so cruel and so legally fraught, it's going to tie us up in knots, legally, morally, politically, for years to come. But the likelihood is that nothing's going to happen because the Rwanda program is going to be stuck in legal limbo for the foreseeable future. There are other solutions. I'm proposing one. Lord Heseltine is the person who put it forward, and it's simply a development of this idea of working together. I'm going to post a video shortly of a conversation I had with a senior Turkish journalist who was appalled by Jenrick's plan to try to negotiate an Albanian-style agreement with Turkey. And his immediate response was, well, what Turkish refugees have you got in the UK? And why should those refugees that you've got in the UK, that you're identifying as coming from Turkey, be returned to Turkey? Presumably you're thinking of Syrians, of Kurds, of Libyans who have crossed through Turkey on the way into Europe. It makes no sense for Turkey at any point to take people back. In any case, they almost certainly aren't documented. So this is not the same thing as Albanians taking back Albanians. Even there's a question about whether or not we should be allowing the Albanian police to monitor and control our immigration. The real agreement that should have been reached with the Albanian government is the one that Edi Rama put forward, which is the imposition of consular offices in northern Albania to process and discourage the men from northern Albania from making the treacherous crossing over Europe and over the English Channel at the very outset. They should be discouraged from leaving Albania.